All right, so this is the fall 2 reports. The respects and the nuances of the reports, we'll cover those. Um, as I was saying, this graphic is showing the 5 aggregate reports that must be viewed, right? The function in CalPads requires you open the report, and then it will a red X will be replaced with the green check mark. But it's just as important to review the supplemental reports because you can't understand the detail. You can't even verify the accuracy of the aggregate reports without looking at the details. And so you can see the titles are quite simple. They'll tell you like 2.4, if you were to look at the count of your students or receiving or teachers providing EL services, you would see that you could drill down to a student list and see each individual student. So perhaps you have less than you expect, and you need to look at each individual student to find out who's missing. There might be a student that was TBD on census day that you expected to show. Maybe you have to correct that student's record, or you have more EL students than you thought, right? And so that's why you have this supporting report. And then you can see a report 2.5 would be the teachers providing EL services. Then it drills down to teaching assignments in detail. And a staff teaching assignment is specifically a teaching assignment. These are those teachers teaching courses. It only features those teachers teaching courses, and it's those courses in detail, those teaching assignments in detail. And then you have the staff profile list. So if you wanted more detailed information about the staff. And so often, the supporting reports are either going to be labeled as detailed reports or list. They're going to list each individual staff member, each individual course, each individual student. And so these supporting reports are very key.
This 2.4 and 2.5 and 2.7, these are the reports related to EL services. So we're stating here that this report reflects all of your EL students and the EL services that they are being provided. Okay, this is not a one-to-one count of the EL service that you've reported in CalPads. So there is a logic that CalPads determines as to where to put the student in, what bucket. Okay, so if a student has multiple classes and has each class has different EL services, that student will only be counted in one of these. So here is a a brief logic of those of how CalPAS looks at it. It's on the report. However, if you go to the CalPAS user manual and go to the report mapping guide, let's just go there right now. Snapshot, and then go to fall 2 and look at 2.4. Aside from the report logic, how each column is counted, at the bottom you also have another table that basically just is just another version of the one that you have over here. So it's just more elaborate, but it's the same thing. Okay, so if you expect a student to be on 5 or on 6, but that student has a class that has a 1, then that student will only be counted in 1. See? And then of course, if you have a student in classes with EL service of 2, 3, 5, or 6, and 4, CalPads will count that student under the 4 column. So that's just the gist of it. So make sure that if you're trying to account for each of this EL service, make sure that you are aware of this hierarchy. Okay. And then 2.5 is the same. However, this is for the teachers. So 2.5 is just a reflection of the number of teachers providing EL services based on the EL service codes provided in those classes. So this is also unduplicated. So if a teacher has a student who has, if a teacher has multiple EL services and they're in multiple classes with different EL services provided, then of course you have to account based on this same logic here. So 2.4 is the student count of unduplicated students receiving EL services. 2.5 is the teacher version of it. So, and this is also a way to show that if if you have other English services provided, and then if you have a 5, okay, 5 meaning no EL services are provided. 2.6 is count by primary language. So again, you have all your primary languages, you have your ELs, and then it's then broken down into grade levels. So you can just expand that, and you should have numbers per primary language per school. Now, 2.7 is the student list. Okay, so in 2.7, it just so for 2.7, it just gives you the list of the students who are EL students and receiving services. So it gives you the number of courses that are provided EL services. And then this education description here, this is based on the unduplicated one on 2.5. So what was the prioritized EL service the student is counted at? Okay. So you have here the student, seed, the number of courses, maybe these courses that the student is enrolled in have multiple EL service classifications, and so you account for the hierarchy under column 1. Do we have any questions so far? Nope. No. No. Oh, did I lose my sound too? Oh no, this was from Nate. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. So 3.1 is class size by content area. Okay. Content area is based on the determined content area in the what do you call this, the where's that, let me just bring up my CalPAS here, the valid code combos document. Okay, if in the valid code combos document, let me just bring that up to show you. Where is the valid code combos document? I'm just waiting for it to to come up. My apologies. Okay, so I have here the valid code combinations document. So if you go to the course group master combo, so I right click on that arrow here, look for course group master combos. So you have this content area category assignment, okay, this one here. So this is what that represents, okay. Now, there's another column, course content area subcategory. These are for those courses who require subcategories. So these are your agri, business. So that's that column. And then these are the number of classes classified under that content area. And this is the class enrollment. And this is the average class size. So bear in mind that the average class size will vary based on the class ID. Now, if the class ID, if you're sharing one class ID for multiple content area, for multiple courses, then your average class size will balloon. This will be, 100 students per class or 200. So if you're seeing, weird numbers, that means there are classes in your list of classes that are sharing the class ID. Make sure that the class ID is unique in all your courses within the same school. Okay. So if you have a different school and you have the same class ID, that's fine. It won't it won't it will basically won't impact the average class size if both two schools are sharing one class ID for two classes. But by all means, if you have, always make sure that you have unique class IDs so that your average class size won't be impacted. And then you have your report 3.2, your class enrollment by content area. So this is just a report that has your content area, and then it breaks it down into the different demographics of students enrolled in those classes. And then 3.3, class enrollment student list. So this is just, a detailed list of each of those classes. So if you want to go into, the really detailed reporting, you have to look at each class and look at the list of students in each of those classes. Okay, so we skip 3.6, which is an important element. Let me just bring up the CalPAS user manual here. So we have here 3.6. So 3.6 is core section enrollment count by content area. So can you see this screen? Okay, so we have here, the course area subcategories, state course code, the local course ID, course sections, and students enrolled in there. Okay. And then 3.7 is just the count and details in those classes. Okay, it gives you, the actual, it reflects all of those data elements you have in the courses for each class. So if you have a class here with that provides EL services, that has multi-teaching strategy, UCCSU approved, distance learning, all of those data elements that you populated in the course will be reflected on 3.7. Okay. And then 3.8, course content count by content area. Again, this is essential if you just want to see the courses with the teacher on it and the students listed under that teacher. Okay. This is a more a shorter version of 3.7 plus the teachers assigned to them. And then 4.1 is just one of those reports associated to the data you reported for staff. So this is a combination of your staff and staff demographics and staff assignments. So in the so this represents the FTE percentage of average FTE, the number of staff per school, and then how many staff members are teachers, their FTE, FTE count, and then admin, and then chart. This is basically the job classifications 12, 10, 11, 26, 25, and 27. So this is just reflecting the total count of FTE and job classifications per school. This will not, the staff on leave will not be included here. For that too is the same. It just shows you the FTE and FTE to staff ratio. So this is more HR related. So you have the staff, the school name, and the unduplicated total teacher. So for report mapping, if you need explanation on this, you could always go to the report mapping guide. And then this is an important report for that 3 because this is what is used for assignment monitoring. And then also this is the report used to look at your teachers who are on leave but was reported as teacher of record. Okay. So there are two new columns to this report. This year you have your total years of service. This determines the total years of service of your staff member as you reported in your staff demographic record. And then, so this is key to determine if a staff member is inexperienced or not. And then you also have here the independent study indicator. So if you mark the class with an independent study, then there would be a Y in this column as well for each of these classes that is assigned to a teacher. And then also you see your EL course enrollment. So if you have an N here, then that means this staff member does not have any EL students assigned to the class. Okay. Okay. So this report is used for assignment monitoring. So if let's say you have any issues later on with misassignments, you can always come back here to 4.3 if the issue is on the CalPad side. Okay, because normally for us misassignments, it could be something outside of CalPads. It could be the credentials and not the actual data elements that you've reported in CalPads. Okay, any questions on 4.3? So so for those, if you are trying to figure out teachers who are on leave but is assigned to a class, this is the um, report you need to run. However, there is no column here that shows you if a teacher is the teacher of record or not. It's actually a filter. So you run that filter, run just filter for employee on leave. Let me just and then it should give you a list of teachers and their classes. Okay. 4.4 is your staff profile list. So this is based on the so 4.3 is a combination of SDM, SASS, and CRSE data elements. Now this is just based on SDM and SASS. Okay, this is your staff profile list. It gives you your teachers, their years of service, FTE, and if they are assigned in different job classifications. Okay. Oh, I mean FTE that if they're in different job classifications and their FTE. So 4.4, 4.1, and 4.5 will not reflect teachers or staff members on leave. If you report a staff member with 6018, they won't show up on 4.1, 4.4, and 4.5. Okay. You only 4.3 will reflect that, and only for teachers who are assigned to classes. And let's just make that clear. And then 4.5 is your staff non-classroom based or support assignment detail. So this is where you see all of those staff members who are 11 and 10 job classifications, and you assign a support assignment for them. This also applies to teachers who you reported a non-classroom job code as well.